So this is my first session. I just saw your post.
No, no problem. I mean, I was just about to ask because I didn't remember saying your names last time. So,
Okay.
super cool. But were you able to just get a sense of what was spoken, uh, like last few things?
Not sure, but yeah,
Correct.
I think
Okay.
you were setting up some LLM calling and all that.
Correct. So we did that last week.
Sure.
Cool. So, Vijay, is it also your first time at joining
Yeah,
this?
this is my first time, but I've been like following the videos, and I'm
Got
trying
it.
to. I've done the setting up part.
Correct.
Um,
Correct. 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 Just quick question: is there anything specific that you guys are looking for? Of this, or if you want to know more about the context on what we are doing, I will anyway do it when people join. But yeah,
Nothing specific. I have experience working on some land graph agents, document extraction,
got it,
that. So just looking into what is happening. That's all.
got it.
for
Okay,
me, I have zero context on like coding environments and all. I have not done anything.
okay,
Like this
okay,
is I want to learn how to make these agents and all, and so that's why.
got it.
Yeah.
Super, lovely. We'll just wait for maybe 2-3
Sure.
minutes,
Sure.
and then we can get
I
started.
saw one of your document parsing videos.
Correct, correct.
So I built something like that for my company, like integration in Gmail, so that we can extract attachments and automatically infer the schema and then force data into that format. And people can chat with it and ask more data, less data. And then on schedule, we'll extract the data whenever there is a new email in Gmail, something like
Got
that.
it. Is it related to expenses?
Yeah, yes.
I think I was just seeing the demo of yours today morning. Super
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't put the PDF attachment in the demo, but that is also possible.
Okay. So sure, this then whatever we discuss will be super. This is more to help people who want to get
Yeah.
started. So like as simple as today, we're going to talk about how to build APIs because last time we had a script, so
Okay.
it might be too early for you. I'm just heads up in case
Yeah, sure.
if you find it repetitive or useless, you can always log off.
Yeah, it's fine. There's a lot of things happening, so many tools. So just
Yeah. So this is more on how to help or enable people to get
okay.
started with
I think
coding and
that's
agents.
good because especially with coding tools supporting like Cursor or Klein, people are able to build tools on their own with very less experience in
Correct,
coding.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So definitely, I think we should enable people to build like I don't know what it is called. I'm calling it nano SaaS, but micro SaaS, smaller than micro SaaS. But yeah, people should be able to build tools.
Got it. Got it. So is this company based out of India? Where
No,
you're working?
California, San Francisco.
What about you, Jay? Where you work?
Yeah. So I was working in Amazon.
Okay.
I just left. I'm not right now on a paternity break, so
Got
I've
it.
taken some time to spend with my kids. So at that time, I wanted to also learn this. So it's fine.
Good.
Got it.
What is your role, Vijay?
I was in a program, senior
Program.
program. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I think like if people working in different domains other than programming, they can leverage their domain expertise also to understand where AI can be used. Like if you understand the capabilities of AI and you know already have expertise in your domain, then you can merge those two things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very helpful.
Like of course, I was working with a lot of data science people for my programs, but then this is like most of the times it was like I'm just following them. I was not able to like catch up at all on what was happening. But now things have
The
moved a
barrier
lot.
to entry is reduced
Yes,
now, and
it's reduced.
also
Hello, guys. Sorry. Thanks for the message, Karthik. I just saw it. We just got it started talking and didn't see that much.
no worries.
Hi, Mahesh. Good morning. Hi, Tarun. Cool. I think in 3 minutes we should get started. We have a couple of new folks, Harish, Vijay, and Abhdeep. I was just catching up with Harish and Vijay just before the call. Maybe you guys should give an intro. Abhdeep will talk for himself. Me and Abhdeep work I'd rather go a long way back, about 13, 14 years back. But he will give a short intro. But with Harish and Vijay, if you could get started with a small intro to the rest of the folks, and you can get started.
Harish, you want to start?
Sure, yeah. So I'm a senior backend engineer. I normally work with Python, Flask, Postgres, whatever. And recently, like since 1 2 years, we've been adding some uh, AI specific features. I mean, more wrappers on GPT, nothing foundational. But so learning about agents, document retrieval, RAG, all sorts of things, like how we can use an AI in existing features, not just like gimmicks, but more how we can use leverage AI, GPT, or any image models, all that. Yeah, so learning more about those things, and like on the side, learning how to run some models locally and fine tuning all that. So still very early to that. Don't know the internals about transformers, all that, but yeah, still yet to learn.
Lovely. Cool.
I am
Vijay,
Vijay. So, yeah, I was previously working in Amazon for as a senior program manager in last mile programs, and right now I'm on a paternity leave. But at the same time, I wanted to learn a bit about AI agents and all. And so this was I have zero coding background. I just understand a little bit of AI agents and all. I've just been learning about it, but I want to get hands-on on it. So that's why I wanted to get into this. So.
got it. Cool. Abhijit?
Yeah. Hey folks, I am Abhideep. I've been a PM in different roles, sort of hierarchies for about a decade now. In my current role, I am heading uh, user experience on home and offer engines and incentivization platforms at Cred. Right. Uh, Really, I haven't coded even a single line of written a single line of code in the last 10 years. The last that I did was when I was an engineer myself in 2011. And since then, nothing. But I think why I'm here, I believe product management as a field is going to fundamentally change, and pure product management, as we see today, is going to be sort of is going to change forever. It's not going to be the norm. And there, I think the boundaries between product management, engineering, product management, and design is going to be very different, right? Because these technical boundaries are going to blur with AI. And I thought of upskilling myself, and Praveen is a an old time friend, and he has been running this. So I got in touch with him, and here I am today. So really excited to learn how to build with AI, and yeah, see what can I really do as a builder. So yeah.
Lovely. Super. Welcome, folks. So for the rest of the folks who are already on this, maybe I will try to create a small document on their background so that you guys can catch up offline and stuff like that. So a little bit of background on what we are trying to do. So Bala and I, Bala is traveling right now, so he's not able to join. So Bala and I, we have known each other for about 10, 12 years, and we have been trying to start up ever since we met at, I guess, be about 10, 12 years back. Uh, so recently we started working together about 8 months back. We in fact worked with some developers to kind of get started, but most of them are freelancers and it was getting difficult to get our ideas off the ground. So one fine day we decided saying, okay, let's just start coding. And both of us have some history of coding, but that was like more than decades ago. So we kind of get started, and it took us 1.5 to 2 months to kind of get a sense of what it is to code back, because it was also not hands-on experience for us, and it was a little overwhelming to be very honest. But only because it was the two of us, we could kind of be there for each other, debug, etc. But I think more than the idea itself, it was some of these small teething issues that stopped us from getting our ideas out. But we thought, okay, if this is the case, then why don't we just help people out to kind of get started with the basics of the development, so that anybody who has ideas can then start leveraging and building. So that was actually the thesis on this particular thought process. So we have been having 2 3 sessions. I think most of you have been joining. Uh, so I will just give a recap of what we have done so far for the new folks. So first session, we talked about how do we clone a Git repository to get that up and running on a local system. That's really what we did. On the second session, we kind of talked about how do we install cursor, and we use most of the AI models there to kind of generate the code and to debug, as opposed to writing code from scratch. So we will still be doing that because I think most of us have non-technical background, and I think it will be hard to just learn Python from scratch and being able to code. We all acknowledge that the code that is generated is probably not production grade. So we are aware that it's probably good for prototyping, but not ready for production. But at least it will help us to validate businesses, because at the end of the day, all businesses exist to make money. So I think that was the larger context, which should enable us to do what we do. Specifically last session, we wrote a small script that kind of takes in a subject or a topic, let's say artificial intelligence, and it kind of goes to the internet, figures out the 2 or 3 articles and summarizes that. We did that using some libraries. Mostly we used SERP API. So for all the new guys, these articles are already there. We have already shared the resources on the group, but I will do share. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ping me or Ballard, and we can help you get started on that. So today the idea was to convert that script into a web application. How do we expose some of those functionalities into APIs? I think that was largely thought because anything that we do for any area, we need to have a web application, have APIs. We will have to build a front end that needs to interact with the APIs. We need to put this into the DP. So it's very important that we kind of understand the APIs to start with. So we'll get started. So I will just share my screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone the Git repo that Bala had uploaded last week, and we'll get started from there. Can you guys see my screen? Let me know when it's visible.
It's loaded.
Yep.
Super. Let me just. Where's my file?
Hey, Praveen, just a quick question.
Yep.
So these sessions that you're uploading, is it on the Slack channel or is it on a different place that we're?
Are you? Yeah. It's on the website, but are you on the WhatsApp group? If not,
no.
I'll add you. Okay. No. I'll add you to the WhatsApp group right after that.
Good. Thanks.
Can you see my Chrome as well? You
yeah.
can, right? Okay, great. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I will. Okay, this is a cursor. If you open the application, ideally it will be an empty folder. There will be nothing. So maybe let me do one thing. I will just open some other project. This is what we did last week that I was trying to do with Bala. So this is how it will look. But ideally, when you open the cursor app, it will be empty. If you guys have cursor, then just try to follow whatever I'm doing. Yeah. And my monitor is here, so I'll keep looking at here. Cool. So. Cool. So I've just gone to my working directory. This is where most of my projects are there. So let's see. I'm going to clone this particular repository that Bala had put. This is the GitHub URL. The command to just copy it from the Git is git clone. Mostly it already exists. Let me do one thing. I'll just rename that. Cool. So what it has done is just copied that onto my local with some Git details. So if you see, I have now downloaded that of sorts, and I have this folder. So I will just go to that folder. Now I'll just open the folder that I have downloaded. Please just pause me if I'm going too fast. Yeah. Cool. So last week we just had this basic newsroom.py application. It doesn't do too many things. Basically, there are 3 things. One is content, search, and summary. Basically, it will search for articles, pull out the content from the articles, and then it will kind of summarize. We are using OpenAI GPT-4o basically to summarize the articles, and we are using SERP API to kind of search the internet itself, which means I don't have the SERP API key. Let me just create a file. So most of the keys, it's better if you store it in a .env file, so that you can you don't need to upload it to JIT, but will also helping us to run the application on the local. So I'll just copy the key space. Just give me a minute. Okay, now that that's done, so whenever we are running any project from GitHub, or it's important that you kind of create a virtual environment. Imagine virtual environment is like a container for every project. Every project has a lot of dependencies in the form of libraries, and different projects would require different versions of the libraries. So it's better to kind of create a container or a virtual environment as we speak, so that the libraries that get installed on a particular project is contained to this virtual environment. That way, when you run multiple projects, even though the libraries could be similar, there might be different versions, they don't kind of conflict. Now, if you don't do this virtual environment, it gets installed at a system level. If it gets installed at system level, then it kind of goes for a toss, because different projects would probably require different versions of the libraries. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a virtual environment for this particular project. So the command is python -m venv. I'll just give some name for this.
Praveen, somebody is actually waiting to be let in.
Oh, okay.
Can you check?
Check. I'm checking.
It's Gautam actually.
Gautam. Okay, got it. So I'm going to act. So once you have created the virtual environment, you need to kind of activate it. So the command for that is you do a source, and once you're activated, you usually get this environment that you created. So now essentially this project inside a virtual environment. Now there's a file called requirements.txt, which has all the dependencies of the libraries that we talked about. So for me to run this, I need to kind of install this. So let me install this. I might get some syntax issue, but anyway, let's see. Let's come back to that.
You just need to add that flag -r.
R, right? Okay,
Yes.
1 second.
That is for recursive. So any command,
Yeah.
multiple Unix commands have install.
Cool. Now this is done.
So one note, usually in production we use package managers like Poetry or
Poetry stuff, right? Correct.
yes, PTNV. But it is good to learn what is virtual.
Yep. Cool. So let's start with this. So we have first with the search. So we have the search news as one of the functions that we built last time. Of course, it takes the API key and the topic, and it kind of goes through the internet and searches. So we need to expose this entire functionality into an API. So we'll call it some kind of a news summarize or something. So there are the way to think about APIs, there are two kinds of APIs as a functionality. One is synchronous and one is asynchronous. Synchronous, when you make an API call kind of block, so that when somebody else calls a request, it will kind of feels like it is slowed down. So the best way to kind of implement is convert this into an async APIs. So all these functions needs to be converted on asynchronous. So what I'm going to do is let's first add the context, which is main.py. This is where my so let's start asking the AI to kind of convert that into async API. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be a bit of an iteration. While I can understand the code, I don't want to write the code, so it's going to be a bit of iteration to get it up and working. So yeah, let's just get started. Just, I'm going to make sure that I understand this first. I'm running it on 3.5 Sonnet, so let's just test. Okay. 1 second, yes. I need to get the opening keys. Hold on. Okay, let's convert this into API. Second. So there are different kinds of modules that are libraries that are able to convert into web app. The ones that we will use is Fast API. While here it says Flask, I find Fast API to be generally easy to understand and operate with. While it is generating the code in Flask, I'm going to say, please, I want to use a bunch of things, which we will do right after that. Also, please note that in Cursor, we have these three modes: Ask, Agent, and Edit. Is somebody joining? So I'm mostly in the ask right now because I don't want it to kind of edit the codes directly. I want to understand what it is expected to do. Otherwise, what will happen is it will start making these changes directly into the code base, which is generally a bit of an headache. So I want to say, I want to use Fast API for APIs. And there's also another library called Ubicon, which is helpful to convert your scripts into web servers. So I want to use Ubicon for running the servers. Tell me, and it's usually better to tell it what is it that it is thinking and what is it supposed to do before you make the code changes. Tell you not some plan to change before you make code. Cool. Let's review what it is saying. It's saying that okay, it has added the dependencies of Ubicon, FastCon, and Pydantic to requirements, which is good. Okay. It is saying that it is going to add the models. So for every request and response, it's better if you have the models. Models as in what kind of data structure that we want to input and return. And so here is a model, which I think is going to apply to search. Okay. Just find out. Okay. Let's not this change this. Please. Why is it not coming? So one thing that we'll keep doing is we'll try to do almost everything from scratch. So you need to kind of be very clear with the instructions. I'm deliberately not giving a lot of these things. So in this case, I'm saying I have these files. So you need to send existing code to kind of make changes to the async functions. Yeah. So if you see here, it's trying to add something on fast API. So this is like the basic setup for fast API. So it's largely self-explanatory, but now it is kind of taking these functions and converting them into, async functions to expose via API. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, while it's generating, let's see what it is doing. Main, it's added the fast API. Okay, it has converted new summarizer as an async function. It is checking for SERP and OpenAI keys. When it is calling search new. So when you're defining a function as async, then you need to do an await because basically it will stop execution here until the results from search news comes and then it continues with execution. So yeah. Once it gets the news, then it kind of takes the articles out. Then it kind of summarizes with LLMs, and then it kind of returns the topic summary instead of great. It's added an API, which is a post API in this case, but let's change it to get. So post is typically used when you want to put something in, like store in the DB or something. In this case, because we're going to do a retrieval, we will change this post to get. Okay, this is okay. In search, okay, it is changing the search news as an async function, which is good. Okay, again checking for the SERP API. Then a bunch of parameters that goes in Google search, news results. It's good content. Okay, again it has changed the function inside the content.py as an async. Good. Process news. So most of the async functions, if you want to just convert it, you just add an async, and you will see a lot of usage of await inside the async. That's a fine. There's one thing here. So basically, what this particular line does is, in this case, let's say if you want to get 3 articles, so there are 2 ways to do it. Either do it sequentially, as in after one article is then go and fetch the next article, or you can say run these 3 articles in parallel, and once that is done, then you kind of summarize. So this async io.gather is basically that. So what is happening in this case is each of the task of pulling the content out is kind of pushed into these tasks, and each of these tasks is going to execute in parallel so that the API kind of runs faster. Otherwise, it will have to happen sequentially. So that's what this code is doing. Now, whether it will work or not, let's see what happens. So requirements, I'm going to apply to requirements.txt. So this is added. So this is how the cursor shows the difference in changes. Accept. Let's say, let's apply these changes to content and kind of review what is happening. This is good. Very good. Okay. I'm going to make the same changes to search.py. Let's go. What is happening? Topic, API key is none, time period is none. Okay. That's something. Okay. 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 This is the file where we have the support for the fast API. Let's just do an apply and then see what is there in it. Okay, it has added support for the fast APIs. There's some changes to text, I guess. OpenAI key. Okay. Okay. The only thing that has changed from last time the script we wrote is make that into await because search news inside search is now an async function. So we have to do an await here. Okay. Okay, let's accept. So now that we have, what happened? I want to expose, summarize APIs that are not post. So we saw that it was in post. So now that API is now getting converted to get, and because it's get, we need to put a topic as an input. Last time we also saw that while summarizing, we took the number of articles and the number of days. So I want to input the topic days to check for the news articles and the number of articles. Refer to search. Content on motor. Okay, just trying to make some changes. Okay. Okay, now we have the API that will maybe try to get topic, time period, and max articles. Okay, that change is done. Search news, topic, and time period. Okay. This largely looks good. I'm going to apply and then run with this and just of default config. Cool. I don't know what is breaking. Let's check. Just give me a minute, guys. I need to add my opening key. Hold on. Okay. All right. Because we added some more new packages, so we kind of need that. So let's do that. Let's also now try running the server. Let's see. So the way to run this is we had an UVCon, right? So we install that. So UVCon you need to give, and you need to give the path of the main file, and you need to do a colon app. 0000 is a local host, and we are going to run it on port 8000. Reload is basically if you make any code changes, it will kind of automatically restart the server. For example, let's say we do something like this and if hit a control save, then it kind of reloads the server. There's already some error. I've got some issue. Let's see. Let's just check. Okay. So I have an import issue. So let's just fix that in main.py. And yes, I want to make it easier. I will say two for now. Okay, it looks like it's there. Let's also do one thing. Now that the server is running, we need to check if it is running from the browser. So we will ask it to just add small function to check if the server is running. We will just add this. Where it is too much. Okay, yeah, I will restart it. That's restarted. So let's do one thing. I want to check this on the browser first before making any changes. So what I'm going to do is we anyway have started the server on 00008,000, but there is something called ngrok. Basically, what it does is it exposes your local server on the internet. It creates a tunnel between your local machine and the internet, so that we can directly it's like a URL and you can access it from the browser. Tomorrow, if you want to integrate with any other third-party APIs that it needs to send data to something, then you can take this URL and put it into the third party's webhook URL, as they call it. We'll talk about more next thing, but I want to create an ng grok for this particular local coastline listing. If you see here, it will generate this URL. It's almost like an URL. It is accessible via the internet. That's the advantage of this. And if I just copy that and run, I really should get something. If you see here, welcome to news API running docs URL. This is what we added the last. Basically, if I just do a slash, it's basically running this message, which means our server is at least is running. So basic thing of server using that UVCon is set up and running. Now we need to kind of see if the API is working, which is for the summary, right? So now just run that too. Earlier it showed how to run this. So this is a topic A. So let's copy this. Say a time period as 2 days. What's happening? There's an error. Let's see. Summary is 1185. Okay. 55. I'm just going to ask my debug. Let's see. ngrok. So basically, I'm giving some more context to the LLM on those files basically. Okay. Okay. First problem is I had given us 2, but looks like I need to give 1D. Okay, that is fine. What is the second one? Functions need to be async since it's called from an async function. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, okay.
So 2
Right.
places, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Input default config. Which places?
No, that you had written as 2, right? They were in 2 places. I think you have to
Let me
change
check.
both of them.
Oh. This is a max article, so this is a time period. Time period expects 1 day, but I'm not too sure if this is string or not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Changes import. Why do I need default? Okay. You know what? I'm going to delete this. I don't need this. This health check, I don't think we need right now. So I will remove this. Add time period check. Okay. Think I've done. Let's run it again. Change. Okay. We're done that. Thank you. You might be right. I think it's there in 2 places. Okay. I see. Interesting. But I don't know if this is going to work. Let's try. Okay, here's something. Looks like it worked. Let me just copy it for better readability. Let's see what it returned. A tools for research validation. I think this is a summary that we wanted to kind of generate. I mean, the basic thing. That's the summary. It has processed 2 articles. It has given time period for 2 days. So it looks like it worked. It's not bad, right? For something to convert. Let's see what it is doing internally though. We'll try once more with a new topic. Any other news that is off late? Which is there?
Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Which one?
Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Okay, let's try. Let's search for Bitcoin. Okay, looks like it is taken the reserve. Okay, here are the 3 important items. This is the one. US government president Trump's executive order.
Yeah.
Bitcoin. Okay, got it. Super. Okay, looks like it is pulling out something. Again, it is saying 2 days success. Number of articles processes 2. Maybe let's say last 5 days, and we will probably give number of days also as number of articles to process also more. You see here in the API, it says max articles, so we'll give that as maybe 5. So for each of the arguments, you can just keep doing an ampersand here and just giving input. That will work. If you see here, yeah. I'm just keeping it here to see if it is working. Ah, it's done. So if you want to know what are the articles that are that are used to do this, you can obviously go back and change a couple of things. In this particular new summarizer, if you see right, the return is just topic summary and an article is processed. The length of the articles, but not exactly the articles itself. So we could do some changes here to see what are the articles that are there. Maybe we'll try to do those changes. I want to return the link of articles that got processed as well. Let's see what it does. So it's going to modify this particular API function. Okay.
Praveen, how are
Articles.
the articles getting picked?
Correct. So if you see here, right, this is the function which we are calling as part of that API. There is a function called search news for which it gets past the topic and the time period. Let's go to the search news. In this search
Got
news
it.
function, there's a library called SERP API which in turn uses Google search basically based on our parameters. So that's how it is getting the results.
Understood.
You can go and sign up and get your own API key basically.
Got it.
So let's see what it is doing. Article sources, title, link, source, date, cool. Okay, now the API response, we have added articles. Okay, article sources looks like this. And technically it should look like this from a return response. Okay, let's okay, now certain this. Okay, article sources, articles, accept. Okay, if you see, as soon as I made the changes, it kind of automatically restarted the server. That's because I doing the reload in that Ubicon command. So the startup is complete. Let's run. Okay. Okay, there we go. There we go. We want to know which articles it summarized from. So we have the link of the articles, source, when it got posted, etc. 1 day ago, 7 hours ago. So it is respecting our this time period of 5 days. So that is also working. Cool. So this is basically how you end up converting a script into an API. So largely you just have to keep talking with this. We have done a lot of APIs around get. You also have post. You also have one more get, so to speak, in terms of path parameters, but we will do it next one on how do we store some of these things in the backend, etc. But the basic concept is you need to for anything to read, then get works. And in this, we have not extensively used async, but if let's say if 10 users kind of call the server, everything will kind of get scheduled one by one. So it's usually slow. So there is some work that's needed to kind of convert this into async where every request in parallel. Maybe we can take it up in the next class, but I'll just pause here to let you guys ask any questions you have. So largely we have used fast API for exposing this in the form of APIs. UVCon for converting the script into a server so that we can access it via the APIs. So that's largely the changes that we have done for the script from last time. Any questions, guys?
Praveen, sorry, I joined a little late. One question is, while giving these inputs, do you mention what kind of, say, for instance, UVCon, there could be alternate libraries also to do, right? Like, do you also mention what is which
Correct. You're right. So correct. So for the APIs, right, initially there are multiple libraries that are available to make these APIs. Flask, Fast API. When I asked it to convert into an API, it started giving Flask. But for me, Fast API is something that I've personally used and it was easy to understand. So I've said I want to use Fast APIs for APIs. I want to use UVCon because I want an async functionality to kind of execute a bunch of stuff. Then it kind of understood and it kind of started generating the code based on these two explicit recommendations from our end.
Got it. Thanks.
And yeah, we also try to say what is your plan of action, what are you going to change before kind of putting it back to the code so that we can review it once before applying the changes back to the code.
Got it.
Got it. Anything else? Were you guys able to kind of download that or rather clone that newsroom from last time? Were you guys able to play around with it? I strongly recommend you guys do that so that, I mean, because some of these things, while it looks simple when I do it, right, like you will end up learning a lot when things break. So, I mean, it is better to just kind of do it hands-on after this because the errors could be different for different folks. So, a little bit of back and forth. One of the things that also helped is as and when the errors are coming, it also tells what to do. So, while it's a bit of a learning curve, try to understand what this error is about, what it means, what is UVCon, what is fast API, so that over a period of 2-3 months, it will kind of gets compounded in terms of what you understand, and you can probably start editing the code directly. Because we're just starting out, we're just relying on LLMs, so that's another thing. It takes a little bit of time upfront, but it generally helps to get a sense of the concepts a little more on that why part of what is happening, what they are saying, basically. Cool. Hope this was helpful. So we talked about ngrok. It's not, you just have to tell ngrok HTTP what port. We haven't talked about webhooks, which let's see how to do it in one of the sessions later. Basically, for example, I'll give an example, right? Let's say if you want to send a WhatsApp message, let's say we use Twilio. I think most of us know Twilio. When we use their API, they do some kind of execution and then send the message out, and they also send the response back to us. Now, there are two ways to do it. We wait for the response to come back, or we just place a request to Twilio, and then we'll tell Twilio, hey, this is my URL. When you're done processing this information, send the updated response back to this URL. So we can't give the local host 0000 in Twilio's settings. So instead of that, when you do this ngrok, we have this URL because we said this local computer can now be accessed via the internet. You give this URL along with this API pathway and put that into your Twilio so that when the Twilio finishes its execution, it sends the response back into this URL and into the API information that you would have configured in the Twilio. That's when this is really helpful. So in this case, we have been using only on the local, so it's not of much use. Maybe next class we can see how to integrate with any third party and see how do we handle the response. Maybe that's the next step. That's the only use case of this ngrok. We built one simple API. Ideally, this is the basic logic of how to build an API. There are two kinds of things for the larger purposes. One is get, which is used to filter data and everything. Post is when you want to collect some information and put into a DB or something. For example, we put on a topic. Maybe we want to store this topic against a particular user into the database so that we always know what is the preference of the user. So in that case, to store the user preference, we might have to expose an API saying store user preferences as a post and then integrate into the backend. But we'll take this one by step over the next couple of weeks and try to build one full app basically. So as of now, we have just exposed the script that we had as a standalone into a web application and server that is running locally. That's all we want to cover for today. But if you guys have any other topics on mind that you guys want to discuss next week, Bala and I will try to figure out how to make that happen. But for the next week, we were trying to see how to store into the database and how do we use the webhooks as part of this APIs. I think that was a plan that we had. Any suggestions from you guys?
Are we going to cover authentication and other things also?
Yeah, maybe after 2-3 sessions. First, once we get storing the user preferences, DB, webhooks, obviously the idea is to then put it behind basically authentication.
Got it.
And obviously, once the authentication is done, then we have some version of it running on the local systems. While we know the server, then we'll talk about how do we deploy it somewhere on production, etc., etc. I think that is what is being planned for the next few weeks. The idea is that you should be able to have a custom front end, custom backend, not deployed on the local machine, but deployed on we are using Railway because it's slightly cheaper than AWS, but the conceptually it's all the same. Some cloud hosting services and put it out there so that even though it's a basic application, we would then be able to know, okay, what is front end, what is back end, what is API, what is authentication, how do we deploy it, how do we kind of monitor it, all those kind of things, so that we are all good to build our own billion-dollar startups. Cool. That's all I had for today, guys. If there's anything, we should wind down. But thanks a lot for joining. Hope this was helpful in some fashion.
Thanks, Praveen.
Very helpful.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.